The GT parallels continue with episode 3 of Dragon Ball Daima. Here's all the Easter eggs, lore, references, and all that jazz in this video. Number 1, Goku is shocked by how fast he, Kaioshin, and Glorio leave the Earth, and Kaioshin has to explain that the Demon Realm's planes function on magic power, which makes them fast. Kinda like the Namekian spaceship. Remember when Bulma and Popo went to Jupiter so fast? It's kinda like that. And remember, the Namekians are, have demon heritage, I guess, if you want to say that. So magic, and then the Namekians use magic as well for the Dragon Ball, so there's a correlation there as well. Kaioshin also explains that this warp character is a transit point between the demon realm and outside world. You gotta go through the warp to get to the demon realm, and it's implied there's multiple warps. A warp, by the way, if you're confused, is that fish-looking thing that got Goma and Glorio to the human realm. There is a planet, Batapi, of the Raka system. They mentioned that early on in the episode. They finally get to the warp, and Goku even mentions he looks like a giant goldfish, and he just screws around with the warp until Kaioshin has to reel him in. Kinda like Kami did when Goku first met King Yama. But also there's another thing. He mentions it looks like a goldfish. That's probably where the design came from. The warp asks to see the pointed ears on Goku, who doesn't have any, so Kaioshin uses magic to do it for Goku so they could all pass through, and surprisingly, or rather unsurprisingly, it works. It's really easy to pass through these realms for some reason. That's a bit of a joke in itself. But it's also another thing where Kaioshin mentions that the pointy ear thing used to not even be a thing. You could just pass freely. So yeah, there's been a whole bunch of change in that time. The pin number Goku, Kaioshin, and Glorio give is different from episode 1 when Goma and Degues left. Remember, their pin number was 0493 on the screen. Here, Glorio gave the number 8821 as the pin number. Could it be the pin number is for the first demon realm rather than the third demon realm? As in Goma used his to go to the first because, he might have access to the first while Glorio only has access to the third? It is implied, so just keep that in mind. That kind of rhymed. That rhymed too. Kaioshin remembers that he needs to tell Kibito about the pin number, but runs out of time as they pass into the relay point. This could suggest that telekinesis does not work from the different realms, Well, obviously, right? Animation from episode 1 is reused of Goma leaving the demon realm. It's reused in this scene as the trio goes to the relay point to pass into the demon realm. Glorio explains that the first hatch of the demon realm they're going through is only accessible by palace members of the demon realm. So they use the third one instead, which just so happens to be the furthest from Goma. But tough titty, Glorio is only cleared to use the third one. At some point during Kaioshin's youth, free access to each demon world had been stripped and only accessible through light shields. So again, with these constant changes happening to the demon realm, it's a constant theme here, change. Glorio continues being untrustworthy when the trio talk about how many members of the first demon realm have access to the warps, and he has to cover himself by saying he has work in the first world, only to say the kind of work he does is this and that? They fly past the statue of Dabra in bad condition. By the way, I'm saying Dabra because abracadabra is the pun. Just to let y'all know that. His name is Deborah in the dub, but it's, based on that. Certain lands of the demon realm just float, in midair. And according to Goku, the air is stuffy and smelly. It's like the atmosphere of the demon realm is like Baltimore, like I mentioned in my last video. But it's just a harmless gas that comes from the multiple floating volcanoes that emit the gas in the demon realm. The thicker the gas, the heavier the air. Apparently, Kaioshin is a gleaned, whatever that means, and Glorio makes it very clear that those kind stay in the second demon world. They have to fly the ship slowly so that air resistance doesn't destroy the ship. That's how powerful the air is in the demon world. Or at least the third demon world. Here's just a list of Glorio's order. I thought it'd be cool to mention this. 5 hamburgers for Goku, obviously, and 2 drinks, 1 for Kaioshin and 1 for himself. Like I mentioned in my last video, it was around this point that I remember Goku didn't have pointy ears, and that could be a cause for all the shady behavior and fighting that could arise later on and even in the bar right now. And just literally seconds after I thought that, some big demon comes up and attacks Goku, but he easily puts him in his place. And on a second note, he punches a demon in the face who tells him anything goes, right? Almost like he did to Geese on Planet Namek, right? Just punched him straight in the face. It was pretty funny. And lastly, the GT parallels persist through this episode when 1, they check themselves into a hotel on an unfamiliar planet just like they did in GT in episode 3, and 2, when they wake up and leave the hotel to find that their ship has been stolen just like what happened in GT. In the same episode, no less. Episode 3 of GT, this happened. So yeah, those are all the Easter eggs, lore, facts, and trivia that you really need to know for Dragon Ball Daima Episode 3. Very low-key episode. Stay tuned for Episode 4 and the Dragon Ball Super highest and lowest rating share video coming this week. See y'all there.